This is Ohio.
This is Ohio.
Oh, democracy.
Yeah, democracy. Which kind are you referring to?
You're telling me there's more than one kind?
Yeah, well, there's the kind where billionaires and top government officials get together, get the people to sign, NDAs and create something really big, like, I don't know, the Intel development in Western Licking County.
Oh, yeah, that.
And then there's the kind where the people who live in that community start to get organized.
Oh, that.
This is a crowd gathering in the basement fellowship hall of the Church of Christ on the outskirts of the village of Alexandria. It's another in a series of crowded town meetings. Sarah Chalk has been to most of them.
The public meetings we're having, 2 or 3 a week, are really exhausting, and I missed one earlier this week and regretted it. If we don't keep coming to the meetings, there's a good chance they'll blow us off. So I think we need to be diligent. We need to match what their energy is with more energy. So yes, there have been a whole lot of meetings, and most of us have real lives going on beside this. But this is our chance to make a difference. And if they go on without us, then they're gain our loss.
The meeting she missed earlier in the week was the county planning board meeting. It was dramatic. Here's what has the residents of Alexandria, a village of 500 people in the middle of St. Albans Township, so engaged. 7 miles north, Intel is building a massive chip manufacturing plant. The governor of Ohio and the president of the United States are touting this as great news. And it is, for those of us who love our gadgets and our cars. But the unprecedented development this project is unleashing, it threatens the way of life of this rural community. Late last year, residents of St. Albans Township were advised to create a comprehensive plan to manage the massive growth coming their way. So they did. They chose specific areas of the township, far from the village, for industrial development. And they set large tracks along Route 161, a 4-lane highway about a mile from the village, aside for commercial development. That area is the cornfields surrounding the church we are in this evening. Restaurants, doctor's offices, walkable shopping spaces. If change must come to this small village, this is the change these residents want to see. There are presently 2 concrete plants that were established before the comprehensive plan at each entrance to the village. Now there are plans to place asphalt plants on those plots, which these citizens are opposing. The reason for tonight's meeting is that a third company, Ernst Concrete, is applying for a zoning variance to put a concrete plant right next to this church and what the comprehensive plan has set aside for light commercial development. The meeting Sarah Chalk missed earlier in the week was the Licking County Planning Board, and they voted 6-3 to recommend that the variance be granted. This made residents of Alexandria steaming mad.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
The meeting begins with the township administrator making the case against the variance.
Disagree with the Licking County Planning Commission board approval. If you look at the recommendation.
And the Ernst representatives making the case for it.
What I'm meaning is I have to zone M&D first, manufacturing distribution. Get that.
The town meeting really gets going when residents give their statements. They are ready.
We got quite the education in emotional appeals tonight, thanks to the Ernst Company, and they spent 30 minutes of your evening doing that, which gave us plenty of time to Google that none of them actually live in this township.
This is Carrie Ann Meng, an admissions administrator at a nearby university.
So spot zoning refers to the practice of designating a small area of land within a larger zone for a different, usually more specific, land use. And to put it simply, spot zoning allows for a specific piece of land to be treated differently from the surrounding area when it comes to land use restrictions.
Spot zoning? How does Carrie Ann Meng know about spot zoning?
Listen, I'm a very proficient Googler, and I think I just Googled what's it called when you zone a small piece of land for something it's not intended for. That's spot zoning.
Carrie Ann has been a regular member at town meetings over the past summer, an experience that is new for her. I decided to visit her Alexandria house right on Main Street. She just moved there about 2 years ago, and the reason she chose this house says a lot about what residents are fighting for at these town meetings.
Oh gosh, we looked everywhere. We truly looked everywhere. And I have lived in Licking County for 8 years prior to buying this house. And we thought we were going to be in Columbus, but everywhere we looked, I couldn't find the right space for a garden, or the houses were on top of one another, or things just didn't feel right. We found this house, and it was just that immediate feeling that you hear people talk about when they find the house that they love. And we saw so much potential. You'll see a lot of space. There's an acre out back and beautiful lawn and landscaping. And at the end of the day, I'm really passionate about gardening and pollinators, and there was space to do all of that stuff. I lost my dad in 2015 to cancer, and he was a huge environmentalist, big gardener, loved being outside. And it's one of the ways I honor him. I needed the space. I wanted the space to be able to do stuff, to be outside and plant things and grow things.
Carrie Ann lives in two worlds. The traffic continues to increase in front of her house, and that traffic is continually filling with trucks, concrete trucks, 18-wheelers, and other heavy axle vehicles. This traffic is expected to increase dramatically if the two asphalt plants eventually get approved. As we walk behind her garage, though, the street traffic quiets down. The acre of lawn back here is unmowed to cultivate clover. This is for Carrie Ann's bees. She is wearing a bee suit and is approaching her hives.
It helps to just kind of give them a little warning puff that you're here.
Carrie Ann pries the lid off of the top box. A swarm of bees continues working on the underside of the lid.
Hey, girls. So the two deep boxes are brood boxes. So that's where they're storing all their babies and kind of their resources for the hive. And then up here, this smaller box is called medium. A lot of people call it a honey super. I'll pull one out for you so you can see. But that's where the bees make and store their honey.
She then pries loose one of the vertical honey frames and pulls it out.
So all of this is capped honey. And then down here, actually, you can see some brood. So these are baby bees, these capped areas here.
Such industry and productivity. I'm curious, what kind of town meetings do bees have?
Ooh, what's the equivalent of a town meeting? Bees do something called a waggle dance, which sounds like I made it up, but it's real. So when bees go out and they find a great source of pollen, honeybees specifically, they will go back into the hive, and in the darkness of the hive, they will walk in a pattern on the frames that tells all the other bees on that frame, here's where this came from. And those bees can then go out to the same pollen source up to 12 miles away and find the same pollen that that worker bee just brought in. And so they're doing this in the dark with nothing to see by and just walking in a specific pattern to help others see the way. It's pretty amazing. I swear. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, they have town meetings in many ways. They can tell when their queen is weak and when they need to replace her, and they all get on board with that. They'll build a specific queen cup. They'll raise a new queen. You know, sometimes when they get too full and compressed, they'll say, hey, half of us need to go. So they'll swarm. If you've ever seen a honeybee swarm, that's when half the hive goes and says, we're going to start over somewhere. We'll find our new place. They have lots of ways of getting together and being industrious and forging a new way forward in a positive way.
Carrie Ann closes up the hive, and we start to walk back to the house.
I wonder all the time what my dad would think about it and what he would advise us to do. But I know at least part of the answer is fight. So we'll fight.
Back at the St. Albans Zoning Board meeting, citizens are fighting, but in a civil and focused way. There was one person present who was yelling out at the Ernst Concrete member, interrupting. Just emotional outburst stuff, nothing thought through or researched. She was silenced by folks on her own side. You have to let them talk, she was told. So she stopped. When the County Planning Board voted against the comprehensive plan of St. Albans Township, one member of that board said, I don't know why they did their comp plan that way. Now, Elaine Robertson had an answer.
That really, yes, made me angry. But I said, why did you do it this way? We did it this way because we love our community. We have a vision. We are not the fancy suburbs we talk about, but we are Alex. We are family. We are community.
Stephanie Taylor found out that this comprehensive plan carried legal authority. She discovered this by diving into the Ohio Revised Code.
So I did look up the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 519, Township Zoning, Section 519.02. Totally boring, but it says the Board of Township Trustees may regulate by resolution, in accordance with the comprehensive plan, the uses of land for trade, industry, residence, recreation, or other purposes in the unincorporated territory of the township.
Allison Riggs makes the argument that big development is great, but you still need a place to live.
Delightful walks to the library, baseball games at the park, and so many other expressions that nature and a small, quaint community offer. Among what the New Albany Company and others have dubbed Silicon Heartland, may Alexandria be the place people retreat to recover from the overstimulating hurry and noise of their everyday lives.
Finally, it was time for the St. Albans Zoning Board to give their comments. They had a clear message for the County Planning Board and for the overwhelming forces arrayed against them. Mike Washington read his statement first.
So if you want to come out here and set up shop, you better look at that map and understand what the community wants for controlled growth. It is on that map. If you think your desires trump the opinions of the people that live and work here, you do not understand what it means to live in St. Albans Township. Ernst and any other business that comes out here and wants to change the community faster than we are willing or able to change better plan on these zoning variances going all the expensive way to municipal court for a final ruling.
Board member Greg Williams took stock of how the community found itself in this position in the first place.
After I saw what happened with Intel, and I think we all know how it happened, it was a top-down deal. You know, we operate on this board and in this government by what we call sunshine laws. That's where things are done out in the public.
He went on to describe how negotiations for the Intel project were done in secret. Some Licking County landowners received lucrative deals as long as they signed NDAs. The secretive New Albany Company gobbled up land before the deal was announced. There were a few big winners on the day it was announced that Intel would build in Licking County. As for everyone else,
and everybody else gets waylaid with this news and announcement of what a wonderful thing it is to have Intel dropped in our laps. With no say, from the community of Licking County, of where we're in the target, we were right in the bullseye of this thing. So now, all of us local people have to scramble and figure out how to deal with all this growth that everybody tells us it's coming, and we know it's coming. So it's just like Mike said, we have to try to control it. And the local people, I got news for you. We're not a bunch of idiots out here, right? We're going to fight for what we need, for what we believe in, and we're going to do it smart.
Williams is highlighting two ways of doing things in America. The big, autocratic, secret agreements with file cabinets full of non-disclosure agreements. And what's happening in this room tonight? The citizens who have prepared informed, even eloquent speeches after full days at work and with their families. This is the long, messy, tiring work of democracy, the town meeting. The vote of the board was unanimous, 5-0, to recommend to township trustees that this application for a zoning variance be denied. Ernst Concrete sounds like a great company, one board member said. There are other places to put your concrete plant. After the meeting, Carrie Ann Meng was elated. We haven't had many wins, she said. This feels good. Mostly she talked about her community.
Look at all these people. I wouldn't have known these people. When I was growing up, there were kids playing outside, right? And we live on a major road, right? We live on a big road, but you don't see that in neighborhoods as much anymore. And there were kids here tonight, and babies, and young people, and old people, and people who've lived here their whole lives, and people who moved here 2 years ago. And this is a huge lesson in community in a way that is different from what people think about. You have to get to know one another.
Stephanie Taylor, a registered nurse who helped lead a campaign to place signs around the town that read, "No asphalt plants, no more trucks," also reflected on how she sees her community changing.
So, for me, I've lived here 10 years, and I think what it has done for me, I think like it does for any time people are going through turmoil together, it really binds you even more. Like, we're even closer as a community. We're getting to know more and more neighbors. It's really encouraging to me to watch the town come together. And I said the same thing after the EPA meeting, that I just feel incredibly proud of this community. I really do. We're just really coming together in a way that I just think is profound and really promising, and is honestly the thing that's going to save us.
Stephanie had more to say about how she talked to her state and federal representatives, about how she jumped into this to oppose a couple of asphalt plants, but now she realizes how vast the pressures are facing her community. Her husband stands beside her, looking on.
Is this your husband?
This is my husband.
Is she changing as a person?
No, she's always been this way. Yeah, just waiting to pounce on something, some right cause, So I'm quite proud of her.
We need to move these out of the way so we can swing this way.
Yes. There's always 12 people, it seems like.
It's a giant square.
Okay.
Yes, a giant square.
There are many more town meetings to come. Stephanie turns to see how she can help. The developers have rushed out of the building, but the neighbors working so hard to employ all the levers of democracy at their disposal, they are still here, putting Fellowship Hall back the way they found it.
Together over there? Okay.
Yep.
Music for This Is Ohio is by Matt Jackford.
This story was produced by me, Jack Schuler.
And me, Doug Swift.
And edited by you, Doug Swift.
To see a multimedia version of this story, including pictures, go to our website,
thereportingproject.org.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.